Right folks, how are we all? As you have seen from the thumbnail and the thumb title of this video, I'm going to chat about the farmers and their inheritance tax and the protests and the threat of a strike. You always have to take your hat off to farmers, I think, because of the jobs they do. And the way my life has taken me at the moment is that I'm actually out in the country, yeah? And although I don't farm, I know a lot of people who do. And I know that it's hard work. And I know that during the summer nights and the winter nights, come to think of it, farmers are travelling up and down the lanes and the roads and doing all the graft and taking this to that and that to this and everything like that. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's not like Keir Starmer when he knocks off at 5 on a Friday. It's not like a job where, you know, I mean, when I used to make the plastic, I knew that I'd go in, do my 12-hour shifts, days and nights, and that'd be it. You come home, you chill out, and that's it. Farmers don't get that luxury, yeah? And during the election, or the run-up to the election, I've got notes here, so if I keep looking down, right. Starmer said, losing a farm isn't like losing any other business. It can't come back. And for once there, he actually told the truth. He actually said the truth, yeah? Not like he is now. And anyway, farmers are going to go and protest in London, and Clarkson will be there. Got him up there on a signed photo. And they're going to go and protest about the tax inheritance. I'd like to say that I think Clarkson has done more for farming than any government now or before has ever done. What, in my lifetime anyway. With his Clarkson's farm, I think it's actually opened people's eyes into what actually goes off. Granted, Clarkson is a very wealthy man and he's made his fortune through different ways, but now he's got a farm. He's had this farm for quite a long time, so I think he does actually know what he's talking about, or has a very good idea. Well, anyway, from April 2026, farms worth more than 1 million. Now, I've copied and pasted this off the BBC website, yeah? So, if anybody's moaning, this is what I've got it off, the BBC, yeah? And we all know how factually true the BBC is. From April 2026, farms worth more than £1 million will face an inheritance tax of 20%. Now, £1 million might sound like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. You know, you're a millionaire, and Rodney and Del Boy were happy to be millionaires. But £1 million in farming doesn't really buy you that much, does it? You know, your land is there, and then you've got your buildings, and then you need your tractors. £1 million in farming isn't a lot. 70% of farms could be at risk. Farmers will have to sell land to pay this. This is off the BBC thing, right? Farmers will have to sell land to pay this tax. Some farms are worth a few million, but it's all tied up in the business. So, inheritance tax in this situation, right? It's a family-run business, yeah? I know they're on about going, oh, they're going after the rich ones, blah, blah, yeah, right. This inheritance tax, it's like inheriting your dead mother's house, which is what normally happens. Most people's mothers die and you inherit them, don't you? You inherit their stuff. But not in every case, though. But you have to say, this is like you're inheriting your mother's house, but you've got to sell the kitchen to keep the house. Yeah, because this is what's going to be. If you've got a farm and you've got land, you will use that part of land all the while. You might not use it this year, but you might use it the next year. You have to let it... It's a bit like Glastonbury, isn't it? They don't have Glastonbury every year. They have a year off to let it fucking repair itself, recover. Yeah, and this is what farmers do. They just because they've got a field over there and they're not using it this year, it doesn't mean they're not going to use it in the future. Yeah, and the farmer has... You can't just say, right, well, we've got to pay this bill, right, well, we'll sell that field down there, yeah, and use that. Why? So what are you going to do so what are you going to do when somebody else in the family dies? You're going to have to sell another fucking field, aren't you? A farm requires all its land, all its buildings, all its tractors, everything. It needs the lot. To make a living, it needs all of that business, yeah? Now, this government and other people who are fucking idiots on Twitter and Facebook who don't realise what this is, these pricks seem to think that farmers have just got like a couple of £100 sitting in the bank just waiting for this. If a farmer has got savings, it's for a rainy day. It's like everybody should have. If you should have savings in case your car engine blows, if you've got a gas boiler that goes, if you've got a leak in the roof. You need to have some kind of backup. But no, these fucking idiots think that farmers have got like hundreds of thousands of pounds just sitting there doing nothing, waiting for something to happen. I don't know. The other week, when this all came out, when Rachel Reeves and a fucking Lego heir did this inheritance tax in the budget, a farmer actually hung himself. His son walked into the barn and found his dad hanging there. And it's like he killed himself because he didn't want to lose part of the farm for his family. He sacrificed himself for the farm and his family. I mean, what the fuck is it coming to when a bloke has to hang himself so his family don't lose their business or damage the business? You've got this saying, right? You've got this saying. You never see a poor farmer, yeah? You never see a poor farmer, yeah? Well, after this, you might not see a fucking farmer, a traditional farmer. Because they're all going to get kicked in the fucking nuts, that they are. You know, I mean, people have got, these people who, like Terry Christian, that fucking northern wanker, right, they've got this image in their head that they're all driving around in fucking Range Rovers and the daughters have got like 50 fucking horses and they all just, you know, and everybody goes around tipping their hat to them and stuff as if, I don't know, fuck knows, yeah? But they're not. There is not, where I live now at this moment, there is no, I haven't seen a farmer with a Range Rover, right? I haven't seen one. And you'll notice that these farmers, they have things like Isuzus and Nissans and Ford Rangers, yeah? Because they're workhorses and there's not a lot really go wrong on them. But Range Rovers are always going fucking wrong, not because they're bad cars or bad vehicles, it's just because there's that much on them. A farmer doesn't want something that can tell you this and that about the car. Or if it's raining in fucking Japan. They're not interested. They want to jump in a car or a 4x4 and do the fucking job. Yeah, they want to be able to pull fucking trailers full of sheep or cattle and stuff. Yeah. I just don't get it. But when you look at it, farmers still have the same bills as us. They'll have a mortgage, they've got council tax, they've got electricity, they've got gas, they've got water, they've got oil, they've got insurance, they've got leases on machines that need to be paid for tractors, diggers, forklifts with the extending bit, yeah? They need trailers to put cattle in. And all these things have to be roadworthy, because if you don't have them roadworthy, people will be moaning that they're driving on the road with the fucking dodgy stuff. And then you've got to maintain your cattle, you've got to maintain your crops. You've got to have your crop sprayer and everything like that. You've got to shave the fucking sheep. You've got to milk the cows every bloody day, and you've got to maintain these buildings that do all this. You can't have something that's falling down. But when you've done all that, when you've paid for your business, and then you start having to look after your family. So then you start having to look after your mobile phones. You start having to fucking feed your family, clothe your family, leave them in the house, have the heating on. You know, some of these people just talk fucking shit. Inheritance like this, yeah. It's the same if your parents died. They're saying like all the assets and stuff. A car, if your mum dies or your dad dies and they've got a Merc outside, that's part of the assets. If they've got valuable paintings, it's assets. They come in and price the fucking lot. And this is how it is with farms. Now there's one bloke here, John McTurnan. Former top aide of warmonger and Blair, Tony Blair, said he was in favour of doing to farmers what Margaret Thatcher did to the miners, right? All right, he's a bitter man, yeah? I can remember the miners' strike and everything like that, yeah. Whatever. That was more of a personal thing with her and fucking Weetabix hair, weren't it? The shredded wheat head. But just to look at that, Darling Harold, going into my half garnet, he closed 253 pits, yeah? Thatcher closed 115. So we'll just chuck that in there. I know some of you might moan about it. The government wants farmers to sell land, I think, and many other people do. These bigger companies then, these bigger farming companies will come in and just grab the land at a cheap price, because it's not as though where you're selling a house, is it? If you've got a house in a nice area and people want to buy it as a starter home or an ex-family home or anything like that, you could probably have 2 or 3 people, 4 people bidding on the house. You could have a lot of interest. But how many people out there actually want to buy a piece of land that they can farm? It's really only ever good to that farmer who's using it. Nobody's really going to want to buy it unless it's a big company. And then what they'll do, they'll go round and force every other thing out of that place. It's bullying. Nobody wants that land. So either what's going to come out is a big company will come in and buy it, or the government will buy it. And the government will buy it, and Ed Miliband, that fucking beaker, yeah, looks like Beaker off on the Muppets. What they'll do is they'll put solar panels, wind turbines on it. Yeah? They won't think about planting wild flowers for the bees. No, they'll just stick solar panels and them fucking big windmills. Yeah? And there'll be no... And then it's like now, right? Where it don't get light till 8 o'clock, and it's dark coming 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, isn't it? So, what? You've got no wind, you've got no solar panels, you've got solar panels, but you've got no sun, you've got no wind. What the fuck are we going to do? If Miliband has anything to do with it, well, this country will just be... Have you seen these videos where he's bouncing up and down like some fucking kid that's just ate a load of sweets? If we don't grow our own food, we're going to be ending up relying on imports. And then we'll be paying God knows how much, because these other countries will know that we are not producing our own food, and they'll be able to put the price up at a stupid rate of money. So we're going to be fucked. And then you've got the poor people. So how much will they be paying for potatoes, for the chips? How much will they be paying for the pizzas and stuff, or everything that goes on the wheat that go... We're going to be... In World War II, we struggled so bad. You've only got to look at it. We had allotments and stuff, didn't we? Yeah? To try and produce food. We had chickens and stuff, didn't we? Even now, you've got to have a licence to have one chicken. They're trying to stamp out as growing our own food and being self-sufficient. They don't want that. And this is just part of the story of shutting us down and being dependent on them to give us food. The poor in this country won't be able to afford to eat. No, there ain't. There won't be. A farmer near me the other way, last week, he lost 18 cows to TB. The other, I think last year, he lost 34. The government will pay him compensation. I said, like, well, are the cattle insured? He says, and this bloke I'm talking, he says, nah, they're not insured. Nobody will insure a cow. But the government will give them compensation for that lost cow. But the government won't pay them for the compensation of the lost milk. If you've got 18 cows that are no longer producing milk, and milk is run at such a tight profit scheme anyway, how are they going to make a living? How are you going to replace them fucking 18 cows? They won't get paid. The government won't compensate the farmer for the lost time and the fact that you're going to have more cattle that can produce milk. No, they won't do that. So that's lost earnings. You see, you got people like Terry Christian now. I fucking never liked him. Never liked him. Even when he was popular, I thought he were a fucking prick. He's totally clueless. He's a silly little fucking town boy who has got no idea. I said to him on X, formerly known as Twitter, he was going on about farmers and thinking it's funny that they've got to pay this inheritance thing. And I said to him, I said, Tizzer, why don't you go and actually use your interviewing skills that you go on about and interview some of these farmers and actually get to know what the problems are? But Terry Christian won't do that. He's a big hard man on fucking Twitter or X, but he won't go and see some farmers and have a word with them and see what they're saying and see what their side of the story is. No, he'll just fucking copy and paste shit out the bloody off the internet. The government have been using so-called experts. The Treasury admits new farm tax is based on research from only one academic. Just one academic. What fucking good's that? One academic. One tunnel vision blinkered academic who has no idea of what's fucking happening. Farmers are land rich, yeah, right? Farmers are land rich. All round Loughborough area, yeah, we've got houses being built for much needed housing. But it's not, is it really? We've got fucking properties empty all over the place. Supermarkets, supermarkets are a fucking funny thing to me because if you live in a town, you live in a city, you need a supermarket. But I suggest that if you live out in the country like villages around Loughborough, there is enough farm shops there. Why don't you go and use the farm shop to buy your meat and your vegetables and stuff, like locally produced goods? Try and, not use the supermarkets so much. It's about time politicians listened to what the people are saying. The public are saying over many topics. We're the ones who pay their wages, yeah, these politicians, and their pensions and all their expenses. So why don't they start listening to us, me and you good people out there who are watching this who hopefully are agreeing with me? Why don't they start listening to us instead of us listening to them, telling us what we want? I don't want what this government's saying. I didn't want what the last government was saying. There's calls for farmers to go on strike for a week. Louise Haigh, some fucking minister of bullshit, she's got no experience in farming. If you go and look at her fucking page, she's done nothing. She has no idea. I'm surprised she even knows what a fucking cow is. Has revealed that plans are being put in place to deal with food shortages if farmers go ahead with their threat to strike over the controversial family farm tax. Good luck with that then. because I think what will happen there is if the farmers go on strike, the public will be panic buying and there'll be nothing on the shelves, because that is what the public do. We panic, or the people out there panic, and there'll be no food on the shelves, and it'll be just like COVID all over again. It will be a complete joke. Another complete fuck up by this government who has been in power less than fucking 6 months. You see, the thing is, Starmer, Rayner, Reeves, Miliband and Lammy, they're all millionaires, yeah? And like I've said before, farmers don't finish at 5. Farming is a 24-hour, 7-day, 365-day a week, a month, a year job. Yeah? On Christmas Day, when you're sitting down with your family, if you're fortunate enough to have a family and sit down with them, the farmer will be out, probably milking his cattle. Yeah? At stupid o'clock. He'll probably see Santa fucking flying across the sky at the time. So many of these farmers carry on going after retirement age. So people who seem to think farming is a luxury life, it isn't. It isn't. There's a bloke round here, and his missus has to go on holiday on her own with the kids because he's farming. Then that's the way it is. And if we don't have food, if this fucking strike kicks in and we get rid of all the farms and we shut the farms down, or we turn them into solar panel farms and fucking wind farms and other stupid things, we're going to end up with importing food, and then we might end up in rationing situations because there won't be enough food to go around with this ever-growing population of whatever I could call them that I would get fucking kicked off fucking YouTube. Although I seem to be attacking Starmer here and the Labour government, I'm actually attacking every government that has been, because they're all fucking useless. They've let industry go to the dogs here. Steelworks, mining, the clothing industry, everything. It's all gone. It's all gone abroad, yeah? Because we've allowed it to. And when you look at it, really, I mean, the shutting of Port Talbot the other week, and the oil refinery up in the north, are probably like the final few nails in the coffin. But when you look at it, farming is the only industry that they've not fucked off completely. And this is a good go at it. This is a good go of getting rid of all the farming thing. Just gradually put the, put the rot in now, let it set, and then all these farms will just disappear. All these small farms will just disappear. It'll take a few years, but what will end up happening is farmers will be saying, there ain't no fucking point in this. There is absolutely no point. In fact, did I screenshot it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. My farm turned over 140k last year, but I only saw a 14k profit. How the fuck do you say? It's like Clarkson when he made a few £100. Someone said I saw something on Facebook or Twitter or one of the fuckers. Somebody says farmers should downsize like we do in our house when the house is too big and we sell it and we move from a 4-bedroom to a 2-bedroom because the kids have left up. What does a farmer downsize to? A fucking allotment or what? What a fucking stupid thing to say. What are you going to do with all your cattle? What are you going to do with all your sheep? What are you going to do with all your fucking field? And all this is the problem. Schools should be teaching about farming. And the importance of it. You got no farms, you got no food, you got no future. And that's all there is to it. But I'll finish off with this. I've said it a few times before. The government isn't your friend, yeah? They're anything but your friend. The way they are running us down at this moment, and I'm not just saying Labour, I'm saying the Tories as well. The way they are running this country into the fucking ground is an absolute disgrace. It doesn't seem to matter who you vote for at the moment. They just don't seem to care about us. It's all about control, and it's all about taking stuff away from us. If you want to work in life, there's no fucking point. The government is not your friend.